And it's all rooted in real context. You will not get this until you go into real life contexts. If you're studying this from a book, if you're just looking at examples, you're going to understand it intellectually. You're not going to feel it. You're not going to be able to naturally, spontaneously use it. The grammar is an expression of context. Grammar is an expression of reality. So we have a question here from somebody whose name looks like it's written in Cyrillic, and I am sorry, but I cannot read that. However, thank you very much for the question. And this person says, good afternoon. Can you explain in detail the mixed conditionals, its usage, when do we usually use it? Please make your explanation simple and to the point. Cheers. So I'm going to be writing a book on verbs. I wrote a book on the logic of prepositions and how to build the feeling of prepositions, how to spontaneously start using phrasal verbs, which will also, I have the beginning of that course here on YouTube to check out, but I have a whole book for that, 400 pages long. I will be writing a similar type of book on verbs that will help you feel verbs like a native, which includes tenses and how we use them, or at least that's the basic idea. So mixed conditionals will be using the unreal conditionals, right? So we have zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, third conditional. When we get into second conditional, the thing you have to understand is that second conditional is an unreal possibility. You've probably heard that before, but what does that mean? An unreal possibility. It means that there's no chance of it actually happening, or that there's very little chance. It's very unlikely, and that doesn't have to be objective. Many times it is, right? If you don't have money, and if I say, if I had money, I would be able to go, that's objectively true. I don't have any money. But it doesn't have to be. It could just be from my perspective. Maybe I think something is very, very unlikely or impossible. And I might say, if I could learn Spanish, I would be famous. Okay, whatever. So I believe that I would be famous if I could learn Spanish, but I don't believe that I can learn Spanish, which is why I'm using the second conditional, not the first conditional, because I don't think it's a real possibility. So depending on how I'm looking at it, I might choose the first conditional or the second conditional. Okay. Now I know that's not quite your question. It's about mixed conditionals, but this is all related, all very important. We have to understand very deeply what is the difference between a real possibility and an unreal possibility. Now, when you have the second conditional, it's an unreal possibility that's either looking at the present or the future. When you have the third conditional, that's an unreal possibility in the past. And then you start mixing depending on what you want to express. I know it's easier said than done, but it really is that simple. Depends on what you want to express. I'm going to pull up a couple quick examples here from a website called englishhilfen.de. Don't ask me why I'm familiar with this site. That's a different story. But it says unreal conditionals type 1 and 2 sometimes can be mixed. That is, the time of the if clause is different from the one in the main clause. So that's what we're doing when we're mixing conditionals, right? They're unreal, but there's the if and the main. The if is always an if. That's why it's a conditional. So you're imagining something that's not real if this unreal thing, past, present, or future, were real. It's as simple as that. If this thing, past, present, or future, were real, then what? Something, past, present, or future. And it's all rooted in real context. You will not get this, or you will struggle very, very much with this until you go into real life contexts. If you're studying this from a book, if you're just looking at examples, you're gonna get it here in your head. You're gonna understand it intellectually. You're not gonna feel it. You're not gonna be able to naturally, spontaneously use it. Pay attention to real English. Okay, we look at the sentence, if I had taken an aspirin, I wouldn't have a headache now. Okay, great. Grammatically, we're looking at this for the grammar, right? No, the grammar is an expression of context. Grammar is an expression of reality. It just happens to be how that particular language expresses these ideas and these things, these concepts. The context is I have a headache. Now, what I'm saying is I did not take an aspirin. And I'm looking back and I'm saying, oh, I'm imagining a different past where I take an aspirin. The result is that I don't have a headache. Okay? I'm imagining something that's not real. I'm imagining something that's different than reality. So all you're doing is you're expressing that unreal hypothetical reality, not the actual real reality. And you do that by mixing the appropriate times. In this particular case, the taking of the aspirin is in the past, and it didn't happen in the past. So your result now is that you do have a headache, but the result would be different if the past were different. So you see different past, different present, both are unreal. Another one, present to future. If I were you, I would be spending my vacation in Seattle. So we have a hypothetical present, if I were you. We have to be careful here because it looks like the past. It's actually the subjunctive form, which is almost completely disappeared as a separate form in English. If I were you, okay, I'm not you. I'm not talking about the past, I'm not talking about the future, I'm talking about the present. Right now, I am not you. Imagining a reality where in this present moment, I could be you. So we're already imagining something that's not real in the present. If I were you. Okay, then what? I would be spending my vacation in Seattle. So the vacation is, say, next month or next week. It's not now, but it's coming up sometime in the future. And I'm saying I would be spending, or you could even say I would spend. That's fine as well. It doesn't have to be would be spending. But you say I would be spending my vacation in Seattle because that's where I want to go. But because I am not you, and I can't be you, the beginning, the if part, is already unreal. It doesn't apply to reality. I'm simply expressing to you, right? That's the context. I want to express to you what I want to do if the reality were that I have a vacation coming instead of you. Or if I were you, I would choose a different location. Okay? So it's always rooted in a context. Now, I know you said, be simple, be to the point. I try to do that. It's honestly not quite my style. There are trade-offs in my techniques. I tend to explain things really well, but I have trouble getting to the point. Hopefully that's all wrapped up pretty well for you. The key takeaways here that I want you to understand is these things happen in a context. They are generated by the context. They don't happen in a void like you might find in a grammar book. So stop looking at it that way if that's how you're looking at it. They naturally come out of the context based on some imagined, unreal situation, whether that's past, present, or future. And when we mix things, all you're doing is one part is in the past, present, or future. The other part is in the past, present, or future. Say what you want to say based on how things are going to fit in this imagined timeline. Okay, you're imagining a different timeline that doesn't exist. Hypothetical timeline. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that was enough to the point for you and for everybody else who may have made it this far in the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.